what is the definition of a wife? Like, what is the actual definition of having a wife? What does it mean to have a wife? Because when we talk about MGTOW or red pill content, it's generally women that go against it for obvious reasons. But some of the points that women make about MGTOW, um, you want to ask. It's just like, okay, so what is your definition of marriage? Like, what is your definition of you being a wife? If you think that MGTOW is wrong, or like a woman who thinks like MGTOW is like a threat to marriage or society, or she thinks that they have invalid points. It's like, okay, well, what is your definition of a wife? Like, let's really like talk about this. Like, what's a wife? Because if I marry you and taking care of you, working, raising a family, whatever we're doing, are you also a feminist? Are you also oh, my body, my choice, I can do whatever? Okay, granted, be a feminist, be what you want to be, but again, going back to the marriage, your body, your choice, and so what? So I'm like, I can be yesterday's news, I can be discarded, I can be monkey branched from, I can be swapped out, right? Like she just suddenly considers me like a second stringer, and then the starters come in, like I just like, nope, subbed out, like what is the definition of a wife? And how's it going? Good, man. um yeah, like what's the definition of what is the woman's definition of a wife? Because women that are concerned that marriage is declining or that men aren't looking for marriage, a lot of it is they're losing their security net, right? They're afraid that they're going to lose their security net. And people say, well, it's 2020, women don't need men, they don't need to get married, they can have jobs, and then someone always says women can make more money than men. Yes, they can, and if a woman wants to do a career, that's fine. Like, let she can live whatever life she wants to live. But in general, when we talk about these biological concepts and these spiritual concepts of masculine and feminine, male and female, there's a reason that the man tends to be more of the go-getter in the world, and the woman kind of takes the back seat and rides the coattails and doesn't want to work. I mean, me as a man too, like I would love to be in a position where I like going out and getting things done. I like having goals, and if I want to invite a woman into my life, I don't mind paying for it. I don't mind giving her something to the point where she's comfortable or she doesn't have to work. But here's the thing: if I'm doing that and you're asking me to sign a marriage contract, what is your definition of a wife? Because if I'm going to be the workhorse and spend all these resources, if you just have the option to divorce with no consequence or see that someone else is better for you, granted, you can see that all you want. Like, you can, as a woman, you can see that another guy is better for you. But again, like, what's the incentive to get married? What is your definition of a wife? Because I can just have women in my life without getting married, right? It's like, what is, as a woman, what's your definition of what a wife should be? Because you want to say that marriage is declining and MGTOW has it wrong, or their points are invalid, or women that get scared that marriage is on the decline, or men aren't looking for commitment. We're all the good guys. How come no one wants to settle down? Men suck. That you hear all these like feminist narratives, and then you hear too, like the woman that will be like approaching the wall. She'll start going off on men and how men are trash, and how there's no good men out there. But again, it's like, what is your definition of a wife? Because we know, like I just said, with spiritual concepts and biological concepts, as a woman, you want to have a man that you're attracted to, that you're not going to have to work because he makes a bunch of money, that you're also attracted to, and you're just going to live this life as like the housewife, where you don't have to do anything in terms of work. Like, yes, you could, take care of the house, cook a meal, stuff like that, but that's where these gender roles come in. And the thing is if you're expecting that as a woman, because I don't even think that's a bad thing, like I like a girl that wants to be feminine. If I'm in a position to take care of a woman, or not even getting married, but I'm just saying, like, if I'm in a position where I just, hey, come over to the house, come over to the crib, let's kick it, I'll pay for food and drinks or whatever we're doing, and I don't expect her to come in and just like pay for stuff. But if I'm just gonna be the one that's paying for stuff, it can't just be this like feminist narrative of, oh, equality, and then where's my marriage, and then if you give her the marriage, then, oh, we're divorced now, or, oh, this other guy's attractive. It's like, no. Well, like, look, like, again, like, you're approaching the wall, you're wondering where the good guys are, you're wondering why no men want to get married. like I said, the spiritual and the biological aspects where the woman wants to kind of ride the coattails, be feminine, and be behind the alpha type guy who's going out into the world and getting things done. So what's the definition of a wife? Like, what is it? You can't coincide the feminist definition with the definition that you're trying to push onto marriage, because it doesn't work. Right? It just doesn't line up, because even the people that say, oh well, women can work and women can make their own money, make more than the man, but there's a reason why career men and career women are just different, and their personalities are different, and their level of happiness is different, self-esteem. um, Most women do not want to be career women. I was even talking to a woman the other day. She walks around here in La Jolla all the time, and she did the whole career route, right, and just worked, never got married, never had kids, but she like worked really hard her whole life, and she's successful at what she do. She's in her 60s. She's successful at what she does, but she talking to her the other day. She's like, I see all my friends that I've grown up, and I look at them and I'm like, I know she doesn't love him. Like he like made money, right? Or he just had a good job. And she's like, I know these girls, and I know that she doesn't love him, but she's getting this life where she just like kind of got it easy. And so she was kind of venting about that. And she says, oh well, you live and you learn. Like I should have done that. And I was like, should have done what? And then like she wasn't saying it. I'm like, okay, let me fill in what you meant to say. I should have not been a career woman. I should have just fucked the rich guy and and rode the coattail. And she's like, yeah, pretty much, live and learn. And I'm just like, like that's what it is. So like, yeah, these people, like someone always comments on videos like this where they're just like, hey man, like a woman can work, she can make money, or like if the woman's making six figures and the guy is making less, someone's like, oh well, she'll always go for like the poor drug addict, it looks are everything. And it's like, no, that's not it. Because yes, for like a hookup or whatever, she can go with like the poor drug addict or whatever, but it just biologically and spiritually, the woman that's career woman that's making six figures, it's just in her feminine nature to like want to be at that level or above. So like the guy who's making six figures or more, because he's going to be seen as that masculine like provider type. So that's why the career woman is always frustrated. The career woman that like marries the controllable beta, it's always arguments. It's always like, just like angry household and domestic violence possibly, and just like it's dysfunction, right? Because it's just like when she's making all the money or she's the breadwinner, it throws off the balance. And like, yeah, you could have like a sugar baby situation or whatever, but it's just like just the way that most people play out, like it's going to be like the woman's going to take that feminine role, right? So when we're talking about marriage and how society is now, where we've put women into the workforce, right? And that's changed a lot of things over the course of the last few decades. Women in the workforce, women going to college, women making money, and sometimes making more money than certain men. Okay, well, how do we define this wife thing then? Because the way the court system is, that like the guy is on the losing end of that mostly. That the guy is going to be taking assets and money, right? He's going to be taken from him, his assets and his money in most divorce cases, and the court's going to side with the woman, and then there's custody issues of the kids. So signing that contract, what is the man getting out of marriage? What is this definition of a wife? Like I have a hard time defining what a wife is, because if we're talking about marriage, if women want a lot of these men to get back into the mindset of marriage, okay, well, what is the definition of a wife? If you're defining me as a man, me as a husband, right? You're defining in a way where, I mean, let's be honest, like you're not dating a guy that's homeless. You're not dating a guy that's like 5'2", right? You're not, so like there's certain things as a woman that you're expecting as the husband. Okay, so like what are we expecting as the wife? So I'm supposed to be the workhorse, I'm supposed to provide, I'm supposed to make money, I'm supposed to give you all my money, and so you can just be feminine. I have no problem with that in terms of just like an ideal. I have no problem with that. I mean, I want to like be doing my own stuff and like bring women into my life. I want to like be in my own frame with things and have women come in as a byproduct and enjoy what I'm doing. Like I have no problem with that as an ideal. But now we're defining a legal thing of wife and husband, and you're able to define the guy, right? You're not dating the homeless guy, you're not dating the 5'2" guy, so you're defining the guy in terms of husband. So what is wife, right? now like I said, now with women in the workforce and college and all that, it's like you go to like frat parties for 4 years and get banged by like hundreds of guys, and then like I'm supposed to pay, right? Like you give it out for free, and I'm supposed to pay like in your 20s or something, like after call. Oh, now I'm ready. Like, and again, it's not slut shaming. Like I'm not trying to like say that like a woman can't do whatever. I mean, I think when we look at the counterculture and the hippies and the sexual revolution, there's been a lot of negatives from that for sure. And but one of the positives too is I do think we are in an era where we should definitely not be shaming women for sex. It's not like the man is a stud, the woman is a whore, and I definitely think we should be past that. I mean, that's very just like old school, just like, yeah, and that's disrespectful to women, because sex is sex. It takes two to tango, and so I respect women and their past, and no judgments on their sexual history. But to act like that doesn't come into play when you're bringing like a legal contract, it's not there. It does come into play, right? So with the college thing, like, you're not gonna go to a bunch of frat parties and then like bang a bunch of guys, and then like at 25 now you're ready to settle down, and because I'm not willing to pay for what other guys got for free, I'm somehow sexist or like wrong, or like, oh, like, how dare you. It's like, no, like, what, again, back to the title of the video, what is your definition of a wife, right? Because it's not about judging on the sexual history. Like, I'm not demanding her to be a virgin or anything, but let's define what it is to be a wife. Let's define what that is. You're defining me as a husband, right? Like I said, you're not dating the homeless guy. So you're defining me as a husband. Let's define you as a wife. And I can't really think of a good definition. If I'm being honest about it, it's like, okay, you want me to be under this legal contract, right? Okay, so let's talk about how we're doing this. Are we monogamous? Yes or no? If you say yes as a woman, then you need to have consequences. If there's a divorce, or if that end of the deal is not met. Because, and like I said, I mean, no one's gonna like hold a gun to your head and just because like you cheated or something, or, I mean, people do that. I'm just saying, when I say no one, I mean, I should take that back. Like, people do some crazy stuff. I'm just saying, me, myself, I'm not gonna ever be in a situation, I don't care that much. Like, if a woman moves on from me or thinks another guy's more attractive, I just don't care. But I wouldn't even be in that marriage situation in the first place. But I'm saying, like, if you're defining the husband, and then I give that definition of wife, and I ask you the question, are we monogamous, and you say yes, well, if I'm going to sign that legal contract, that should be in the contract, right? That should be in the contract when it comes to divorce later and money and alimony, right? And then she says, well, my body, my choice. You can't tell me that I can't have sex with other people. It's like, okay, well, then, again, why get married? What is this definition of wife? And it's not, and that's the thing, too, with men and women. Men can have a bunch of sex and get many different women pregnant in the course of just like a day, if he wants to. Women can do the same, have a bunch of sex that day. They're getting pregnant once, and it's going to be 9 months of bearing the child. And so it's different, right? Like the promiscuity, it's different between the male and the female. How's it going?
You know those outhouses are open?
Yeah, the porta potties are open.
They're open.
Yeah.
Is the bathroom buddy? Okay, Tristan just has to go.
How are you?
Cold, but good.
Yeah, it's a little chilly right
I
now.
want to go see the sea lions.
Yeah, the sea lions are over here. Just keep walking that way.
There's some down there too.
Yeah, and then if you go to Children's Pool, that's where the seals are. So it's like two
there's
groups.
seals and then sea lions.
Yeah, the sea lions are the ones with like the whiskers, bigger flippers. They bark, and then the seals kind of move more like a worm. So the Children's Pool. If you walk down about 5 minutes that way, it's gonna be the lifeguard station there, and you'll see like the seawall that goes into the ocean, and the seals are
Like
on
a
the
5-minute
beach.
walk?
Yeah,
Okay.
both are cool to see. Yeah.
Thank you. Waiting for my other son to come this way.
Oh, for sure. We'll have a good one.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. But yeah, so promiscuity between men and women is going to be a lot different. So the man, right, it makes more sense especially when she's defining him as like the provider, the breadwinner, like when she's not going to like date the homeless guy, right? So this guy, that if he has a bunch of finances and he's considered attractive, more women would rather share that guy than to be stuck the rest of their life with a loser who doesn't do anything, right? Two women would rather share that guy than to be singularly stuck with the loser who doesn't provide or doesn't do anything. And so that's the difference when it comes to the promiscuity between men and women. So it is a little bit different. So when women say that too, it's just like, well, how come the guy can do that and the women can't? Again, I'm saying it's not that the guy's a stud or the woman is a slut, but men and women are different. In 2020, we seem to have a problem with this concept because everything is so free and everything is so accepting, and I like that. It's good in a certain sense, but then we get into these weird men and women are equal at everything, and everything's the same, and it's just like, no, but there's a difference between a penis and a vagina, right? Testosterone and estrogen. So what's the definition of a wife? You're defining the husband. Who's to say if I make $1 billion by tomorrow, why can't I have like 3 wives, right? Like if I take care of all of them with that money, who cares? Like what? Like, and that's the thing. Women don't care either. They would sign up for that. You know, if they're being honest with you, they'll be like, of course I'm going to do that. They're not going to be with one guy that doesn't have anything, right? So it's different, right? So but then we're defining the wife. What is this definition in terms of sexuality and commitment and what she does around the house and provides? We got to really define that. I don't really know the definition, but feminism and marriage can't really coexist.